Today I'm going to be answering your emails and messages and DMs with questions that I get about a whole bunch of different topics. For example, Dear Tarana, last night a respected community leader was arrested for sexual assault. Many people are feeling stunned and shocked, but others are thinking about the culture of silence we have about confronting sexual assault when the perpetrators are respected leaders. What can we do? How do we face this problem head on? I happen to have a lot of experience in this area, and I know it feels really confusing and overwhelming and frustrating and a whole bunch of other feelings when something like this happens. The culture of silence in communities of color in particular is something that has impeded us from making progress around sexual violence. When we find out that somebody that we trust, somebody that we have fought side by side with, shoulder to shoulder with, is a perpetrator, somebody who's caused harm, it's an even deeper betrayal. But I also think it presents an opportunity. It presents an opportunity for us to create community with each other around this issue. And so what might be helpful for you in this community is to find people who are survivors and who are allies and create a space for them to come together to talk about what they're feeling in this moment. This doesn't have to be a place for people to come and tell the stories of what happened to them or tell the stories about this particular individual, but just a place where they feel safe enough to talk about what they're feeling, to process what they're feeling in this moment. We don't often get to do that outside of gossiping and talking behind closed doors and in secret. And sometimes we just need to say it out loud. I feel betrayed. I feel sick. Or I don't know what to feel. We need to process that with each other and talk to each other and talk about what some solutions might look like. I can't prescribe solutions to you because I don't know your community. And it would be inauthentic of me to say, give you a list of things to do step by step. You all know your community better than I do. And you all probably have the solutions right amongst you if you would come together and talk to each other. So I would suggest that if you have some trusted people in a trusted space and say, this is what we're gonna do, let's just talk about it. This is a place where we can come and say, I'm feeling such and such a way, I'm thinking such and such a thing. And everybody can have the floor, everybody can have an opportunity to get out what they're feeling, and we can start there, and then we can build from there to talk about solutions. That's the way I think we start dismantling the culture of silence. Dear Tarana, you were just in town and I missed the opportunity to see you speak. I have always applauded your tenacity and your attention to the issues you believe in. I'm trying to start a movement of my own about domestic violence or gun control and starting a retreat for victims. Also, recently I was assaulted and I'm going to testify at the defendant's trial. Everyone in my town knows this is happening and I'm feeling more and more isolated. I'm still healing emotionally and physically, but would like some advice about moving forward building these platforms. I get a lot of emails similar to this. I want to dissect it just a little bit because this person is dealing with a lot of stuff. Testifying in a trial, they've experienced violence on their own, still healing emotionally and physically, but they also want to start a movement around gun violence and domestic violence, and they want to start a retreat for victims. It takes a lot of work. I made a lot of mistakes, and I still make a lot of mistakes. But in the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes because I hadn't done my personal work. We have to normalize healing as movement work. If you take a step back to emotionally and physically, to pay attention to your emotional and physical healing, that is a contribution to the movement. You don't have to start a movement, a program. You don't have to go out and volunteer or march or do any of those things. If you want to contribute to the movement, Me Too or otherwise, work on yourself. People think that that's not doing enough, but it's exactly enough, because we need people who feel whole and who feel like they're in the healing process to be a part of this work. So that's okay. That is enough to say that I'm a part of such and such movement. But also, if it doesn't feel like it's enough for you and you don't feel fulfilled, I guarantee you there are people doing this work out there who you can contribute your gifts and talents to. There are people who are already building movements. There are movements that are already started. There are organizations out there who you can lend your gifts and talents to. But what I would love for those of you who are feeling this itch is to take a step back and take care of yourself. It's okay to take care of yourself. There are tons of us doing this work, committed to this work, but the way that we're able to do that is because we take care of ourselves. So I need for those of you who feel like your first priority is being on the front line to know that your first priority has to be your own journey and your own healing. Please take care of yourself.